Welcome back, friends. It is 18th module of AI that we are going to look at today. It's about problems with goal stack planning. We have in the previous module we looked at goal stack planning. It's about picking up every component one after the other, solve each one independently. The issue here is that the components that we assume independent are not so in many cases. So when we solve one component, we are undoing what we have done before. So that's the problem, and we'll see how these problems can be managed using the method called plan stack planning, which we talk about later. We also will see an interesting problem called Sussman's, how it creates the problem for goal stack planning, and how that is solved by plan stack planning also will be discussed later. Goal stack planning is quite simple. It works in a very simple recursive way, and it inserts things, solve them, not solve again, inserts, and continues doing that. So idea is very simple, very straightforward, quite lucid. But optimal solution, if you want an optimal plan, then it is not possible. And we'll see an example of why you don't get the optimal plan. You do undo things a few times, that's obviously not optimal. Place planning, which we are going to look at, or PSP that we are going to look at later, is a method of implementing planning in a non-linear way. And it doesn't look at a component and solve it without it. It looks everything as a whole and solve in a holistic method of solving or generating the plan. Okay, unlike the earlier case. Okay, we picking up components. It does not assume it to be that way. So it is quite possible that it will pick up one component, solve that component to some extent, jump and go to some other component and solve that, again drops that in the middle and start solving some other component. So that's why it's called non-linear. Actions are chosen to be added or removed at any part of the plan, and it is based on two different types of relationship. One is called causal relationship. One action causes the other, and a prerequisite. Okay, so we'll be talking about both. Prerequisite is basically preconditions that we have looked at earlier. First of all, let us look at the problems with goal stack planning. If you look at the screen, you can see that it describes something that we have seen already. A is on the table, B is resting on A, C is resting on D, and D is resting on table. Okay, and you have free B and free C. So the A, B and C, D. This is the case. It contains 6 different sub goals. I want to achieve this. I have 6 different sub goals, and I can solve using GSP. What if previous states conditions don't match? I'll have to again apply. Okay, so it gets little longer. There are 2 problems. One is, like, there are 6 sub goals. In which order should I apply? In the earlier case, we have only 2 options, so we apply one, the other, and we have seen that one was far better than the other. In case of 6, it is also quite possible. So what we are supposed to do is try all possible combinations of 6. For 6, it is not much, but then if you have 100, 200, is going to be huge, and is a big challenge. So that's the first problem. And similarly, if the goal also contains multiple components, we'll have to solve each component individually, or we change their order individually. How we do it? Again, goal stack planning, we'll have to try all possible combinations. That is the hardest part. But then the other problem, as I talked about, is interdependency, solving a component and solving the other. Okay, that's why goal stack planning requires to add that complete goal on the stack as the last item. So when you pop everything and apply every action, you test whether the current state is goal state. If it is goal state, fine. If it is not a goal state, some action must have undone something which some other action has done. So whatever is left out, whatever the difference is to be removed. So that difference is added in the stack, and an action which can remove that difference is added, and so on and so forth, and that is applied. Okay, and we'll again see an example. Let us take one more problem. This problem has B is resting on top of A, C is resting on top of D, and now what we want is, we want B is to be resting on top of C and A to be resting on top of D. This is what we want. Okay, and there is something called case 1 shown on the screen. Now we are talking about goal stack planning. What we want is, there are 2 things that we want to have. B on top of C, that is one thing that we would like to have. A on top of D. Now we assume these 2 are independent goal components, and we are solving one after the other, and let us see what the problem is. If I try to solve the first one, okay, so that is shown as case 1. You can see that B is placed on top of C. Once you do that BC is achieved. Okay, we want B over C, so that is achieved. and now we try to get D on top of A, but that is not possible because there are few things resting on top of D. So what we want is free D. So we want to have free D. For that we will have to remove C. But to put on table, what we want to do is to put on table C. Now want to put C on the table. Again the precondition is I need C to be free, but that also is not possible right now. C is also not free. B is resting on top of it. So what I have to do is to have to place B on the table and undo what I have done before. This is an example of doing something which undoing something before, okay, unsolving a problem that we have solved before. Now C has become free, so I can place C on the table and now I can achieve A on top of D. Now that job is done. But then I look at the plan, I realize that B on top of A is still the difference. Now to have that difference, I'll have to execute put on top, okay. So I do that. I'll have B on top of C and A on top of A. Okay, so we have out of this two, we have picked up one B on top of C to be solved first, and we had a problem. But instead, if we take the other one, the case number 2, if I take the case number 2, I would like to have C on top of D. So that is the first thing I want to have. Okay, so for that I know D has to be free. So I'll obviously achieve that. I'll place C on the table. Once I do that, I get a structure C, D, B, A, all of them on the table. Once I get that, I can have A on top of D, and when I get A on top of D, I can also get B on top of C without any problem. And when I execute that plan, look at the plan I get. Okay, so please understand, A on top of D, there are 2 points. Okay, what I want to have is B on top of C and A on top of D. If I start with the first one, B on top of C, solving it, later on when I want to get A on top of D, it undoes that thing. Okay, but if I try to achieve C and D first, A on top of D first, it doesn't have that problem. It gets me to a solution and without undoing anything. What does that mean? That means that the order is very important. There are 2 sub goals, B on top of C and A on top of D. If I try to achieve B on top of C, I have a problem. I have to undo. If I choose AD, A on top of D before, the order is better. Okay, so far so good. So point seems that it is better if we get a perfect order. But in some cases, even that is not going to solve our problem. No order is perfect. And that was proved by a guy called Sussman, and we are going to have a problem called Sussman's anomaly, which talks about this issue. Look at on the screen. And Sussman's anomaly is pretty simple thing. In fact, it has C resting on table, nothing on top of C, and we have B resting on table and D is resting on top of D. What we want to achieve is B on top of C and C on top of D. Okay, that's shown on the screen. There are 2 differences. What we want to have is B is on top of C and C is on top of D. This is what I want to achieve. This is pretty simple. It sounds pretty simple, but it is not. Why? Let us try to see. Remember, 2 things we want to achieve, on BC and on CD. So we may start with one, okay, and we'll see that we start with any one. When we start solving the other one, the earlier one is to be undone. How? Let us see. Okay, let us start achieving on CD. Now here we have C which is resting on table, D which is resting on top of B. I place C on top of D, then it is achieved. On CD is achieved, but then I want to achieve on BC, I'm not done. So I'll have to undo everything that I've done. So I place C on top of table and I get, so this is something which is undoing. Then still it is not achieved. So I want to have on BC requires B to be free. So I remove D also and place it on table. Now once I do that, I can get this B over C. Okay, and D is still resting on table. Okay. Now I want to achieve on CD. I realize that on CD is not done. So again I have to place B on table and achieve CD. Okay, once I achieve CD, I check on BC is again gone because I is undoing it. You can see that this is quite dynamic. It's changing, but I'm not getting the answer. Obviously, after this state, I can definitely place B on top of C and I've got my answer. But remember that B on top of C is to be undone twice. C on top of D is to be undone once. So this is the problem with this part. Okay, what if we start with on CD first? Okay, so on CD is explained next. We have C resting on table, D resting on B as the initial state. We want to achieve on, so we try matching with this thing. So what we do is BC we place D on the tables, we get B, C, D. Now placing B on top of C, we get D. So we get this B, C, D. So we get this C, D. So we want to have this C, D. So we get that thing in the next iteration. But getting C, D is something, now this is something which we have already seen in the previous case. We achieved C on top of D, but B is missing. B need to be there on the top of it. So we'll have to put it there. Now this is little better, but then we'll have to undo what we have done before. Okay. So at least once, this is little better. Point is, goal stack may not be a good solution for such problems, and it's very trivial problem, only 3 blocks. What if there are multiple blocks, there are a lot of blocks, a lot of doing, undoing probably will happen. Not only that, there is one more problem with goal stack. What if you get something which is not possible to be solved? For example, what I want is A is on top of B, B on top of C, and C on top of A. Now, is that possible? That is not possible. You can achieve only 2 out of this, this 3. But if you give this program to goal stack, will continuously do, for example, it places A on the table, B here, C here. When it wants A on top of it, it breaks everything apart and places this thing. Now again, on this should be resting on C, so it breaks it apart and continuously doing it. But this is impossible. But goal stack planning will not realize and will not stop, will continue. Okay, so that's the problem. It's kind of a circular cube. Any 2 can be achieved at a given point of time, but not all. Okay, so this is the other problem with GSP. To solve this problem, plan space planning is designed. In true sense, plan space planning is pretty complicated. In this module, we are just going to have an introduction to it, and we show how it can solve this problem, but not with complete detail. But if you remember our discussion about solution space search, you probably understand how plan space planning works. It contains the complete plan set and moves from one plan to the other based on the requirements, and it does not concentrate on single component at any point of time. It works on complete plans, complete sequence of actions, and it does not require an action to be applied given a precondition. It can apply it anywhere. If the preconditions are not met, it will add additional actions. Okay, it will choose plans where there are possible to have additional actions to make sure you get that thing applied. So this is quite different than the goal stack planning, but it's quite similar to solution space search. The goal stack planning, the few things. First, it acts linearly, adding only one action at a time, and it has to look at the preconditions. Okay, it focuses on the current state. It adds a state which results from the action. It's quite linear actually. So look at the state, apply action, get the next one. So it is acting in sequence. That's the problem, but that's the way it works. Okay, and that not the problem, but it's basically the root cause of the problem of that. GSP is basically moving from goal to this thing, but basically the same process. What we are doing is we are working linearly, picking up end state, then previous state, and previous to previous, and so on and so forth. So that is again acting linearly. We are only focusing on the current state. We are solving it. Only when we solve, we look for the other one. We are not looking at the thing in a holistic way. Plan space planning, on the contrary, is doing it that way. It allows actions to be added at any given place. It does not require to be the prerequisites to be met. Preconditions to be met. Plan space planning, it uses word prerequisites rather than preconditions, but that doesn't make any difference here. There is no strict ordering. The states may not be in order, and there can be 3 different types of ordering. One is called strict ordering, that's allowed in plan space planning, where an action can only be ordered after the other and not before. For example, a self-driving car, the actions placing a clutch and changing the gear. Now these 2 actions cannot happen in any other order. This has to happen in this order. It is also possible to have a partial ordering. For example, I can start AC and or press the accelerator pedal, but can only happen after starting a car. These 2 actions are quite independent. You can use any order. So start a car is A, press the accelerator pedal is B, start the AC C. I can say A, C, B is possible. A must be the beginning, B and C can be ordered. So it's called partial ordering. There's one more called parallel ordering is also possible. Starting an AC and pressing a clutch. Now these 2 actions does not have any common element. So you can use both. You can do both of them in parallel. So that is called parallel. Strict ordering, partial ordering, and parallel, no ordering. Okay, these are all possible in plan space planning. The process looks at quite a few things at a time. It looks at actions and their prerequisites and whether it is applicable in a given place or not and all that. Remember, if it is not applicable, I have already told you what does it do. It finds out the difference and add an action if it is so. So, some examples are given on the slide that you probably look at, and it is in terms of the blocks world, from the domain of blocks world it is done. Something cannot be done before. For example, I have a block called A and there is a block called B. I want to place this A on somewhere else. Now that is needed. So when I look at plan, now this is not possible in current state. For example, placing A on top of some X, okay. But I say that yes, do it. But the prerequisite doesn't match. So B is resting here, okay. Fine, precondition is that A is free. So to achieve that precondition, I will do it. I'll remove this and then I can achieve this. So that is done actually. That is like goal state planning. It is possible. But here you can see that the order is quite fixed. I can only free A and then place A on top of some X. Okay, so this order is fixed. You cannot change that order. Place A on top of B and place C on top of D can happen in parallel. Or other preconditions are satisfied. These actions can happen in parallel. Any one can precede the other one. So this is in parallel. Okay. Same way you can get like if you there is something which is C, A is resting on top of C, some other is resting on top of something. So you have to remove that first and then you can again achieve whatever we have talked about. So those preconditions. Okay. So that is partial ordering. Quite interestingly, that is plan space planning also introduces few other things. For example, I have A, B, C, D. So this thing. What I want to have is, I want to first of all place on A on top of C, but then D should be in the final state. What I want is A, C, D and then B. So A is here, B is here. So A should go on top, B should go below, and this is going to be the same problem that you have seen. If you place A on top of this bunch, you solve one part, but the other part still remains, for which you will have to undo everything. So interestingly, what does it do? It tries solving one, it understands that trying solving one, it has a problem, it will hinder the other one. So, it will not do that. Okay. So, it will try to achieve the other one. So, plan space planning won't place it there, it will put it here. It looks at the plan as a whole. It will not only look at one component. So, it will check if solving one part of the problem has a problem in solving the other part. It will hinder the other one, will not allow that. Okay. And there are few things that it can do. It might schedule that action later. So, it just places here and forget about that. It will not do it right now. It will make sure that will not reach to this state. Okay. Might have started from some other state. It will not reach to a state where one action hinders the other one. It might place that action in the beginning or place that thing at the end or make sure that some other way it is done. Okay. It will not come to this state. PSP, what are the advantages? Now, let us talk about the advantages. PSP does not focus on current goal. Okay. So, it is looking at the whole, and that is why it can eliminate the problems that we faced earlier. Can shift attention in the middle. For example, A, B and C, D say that the first thing that that you want to achieve, it does not do that. While it is doing that, it will understand that it is going to hinder the other one. It just stops that thing in the middle, places it on the table and proceed with the other one. That is how it works. And even when it tries to handle it, it realizes that it is going to hinder the earlier one, it stops and again pick up the earlier case. We will soon see an example of that thing. And every action has two things associated in plan space planning. Precondition is like what we had earlier, and second is effect or the outcome. Now, it is very similar to PDDL. Addition and deletion are what? They are effect, preconditions are preconditions. Here, finally, it was little different way of representing it. It says that prerequisites, they are called preconditions, addition, deletions are called effect. Okay. Here the actions are also named and numbered, and there are two default actions always there in an action plan. Okay, the plan space planning. A0 is the action which does not have any prerequisite, but the effect is the start state. A infinity has a prerequisite is the goal state and no effect. What does that mean? Any plan will always begin with A0 and A infinity. And if the start state is the goal state, because when A0 is applied, what you get is a start state. And when you reach to goal state, A infinity is applied. So if start state is a goal state, this is the only plan that you have in your kitty, A0 and A infinity. But obviously this is not the case in most cases, and we do not want to solve these cases using all AI and neural network and this that. We want to solve a real world problem where this is not the case. Start state is very different than the goal state. To achieve the goal state, what we need to do is to add actions. So we'll move around in the solution space and pick up some other plan, okay, with addition of some action. So that's precisely what we are going to do. Obviously we need other actions, we need to add more actions, but then when we try ordering those actions, we need obviously two things. One, obviously the preconditions, which I've already talked about, but the other one is a link. Okay, plan space planning has two different types of links. One is called a causal link. In case of a causal link, what you have is an action, some other action, and there is a value in between. This thing is the effect of this input, and this acts as a prerequisite to this action. So it is formally written as Ax P Ay, where P is called the predicate, which is the effect of Ax and is a precondition to Ay. If this is the case, please understand this is a link which says that action X generates P or enables P, and action Y requires P to act. Now this is an important link. This is called causal link. This causes this, okay, because it generates something which is a prerequisite to this. But that doesn't mean that should always happen that way. If the precondition is satisfied by some other means, Ay can execute if Ax is not. So this is not talking about the order, or there is no must. Ax to be executed is not must. If you achieve it by some other means, it's absolutely fine. For example, placing I want to place C on top of D. The precondition is free C, free D. For that, I may use free place C on the table and D on the table action, or if I use some other action to do it, okay. The precondition, if it is satisfied, I can place C on top of D. That is the only precondition. How that condition is satisfied? Obviously, put on table C, put on table D is one action, or there may be some other action. But however, point is, if we get this precondition right, we can execute Ay. Ay can be there even if Ax is not. The link does not mean any compulsion on this action to be there in the plan. But then it also says something which is very important. In the plan, if you have an action Ax and action Ay somewhere, and in between you have an action which disturbs or deletes P, and is said to be a threat to this plan. Obviously, because when you have executed an action which generates a prerequisite which is possible, which makes it possible for some other action to take place, this alters that condition, obviously is a threat to this planning. So that is important for us. So here PSP links are shown on the screen, and it explains the component AN, P, AM, okay. P is called predicate, AM is called producer, AN is known as a consumer. Now these are nomenclature used here. When we said that Ax and Ay and P, this is what we said, AM or AN and P, that's what the PPT talks about. Anyway, the problem is that if I execute one more action which disturbs this, is called clobber that link, okay. And when something like that is happening, we have to declobber. Now how can you declobber? Three ways. One, place the action at the end or in the beginning, or use some other, okay. You don't use this, okay, don't use it at all. And remember, this causal links are to be honored in the plan. If it is clobbers, that the plan may not be working. What does that mean? If there is an action, there is one more action and it generates a prerequisite for the other action, you should take care that no other action disturbs this, okay. If that happens, we should prevent. The next slide talks about threat. So this is something which I have already talked about. The causal link may be clobbered by a threat. What is a threat? AN, P, AM. There is an action called Ax. P becomes invalidated or deleted or removed. That is called clobber. What will we do? I have told you Ax should be executed at the end or in the beginning, okay. Or maybe some other action be chosen for doing that. That example is given here. Suppose if I want to place A on top of B, A on top of B, the condition is free A, free B. I want free A actually. So because B is already free, I need free A. So for that I use place on table A. So if I do place on table A becomes free. So that is the effect of place on table A. That is the precondition to place B on top of A. So this is shown as an example. Okay. So action, predicate, action. So that is an example of a causal link. Okay. A threat. Put C on top of A, for example, is one more action. Now if you place A on table, but before you place B on table, C is placed on top of A. Now that disturbs this link. So place C on top of A disturbs this link, so precondition is free A. So free A is invalidated once you do this. Free A is deleted when you do that. So what will you do? Place C on top of A is kept outside, is not executed at all, or it is added in the beginning or at the end, but not right now. Preconditions, obviously it's something that is required for an action to take place. But interestingly, if you have a plan where an action requires preconditions which no action can generate, in that case is also a threat, is also a flow. Okay, because you cannot have an action which generate that precondition, you cannot even apply this action, and obviously all subsequent actions cannot be applied. So this also is not acceptable. So they are called, in the open preconditions is called open preconditions, which does not have any action which can yield, make the state reach to that level. Okay, meet with those preconditions. Open preconditions and threats together are known as flaws. It is possible that if the partial plan contains no flaws, the plan is not only correct but optimal as well. In plan space planning, you can guarantee that the plan is correct. For that, it does use something. It uses late binding strategy. It allocates the value to a variable in as late manner as possible. That is one thing it does. It does something called separation. That is called separation. Whenever it assigns value to variables, it makes sure that the value assigned does not hinder the flow, does not hinder the flow from, or does not clobber the link. So that is called separation. You do not instantiate the variable in a way that it clobbers a link. Obviously, two more. One is called promotion, putting it in the beginning, and demotion, putting at the end, is something that I have already talked about. Solving Sussman's anomaly is also pretty simple in this case. We use nonlinear planning. Let us look at this. Step 1 on the screens. Planning. Now we want C on top of D. So we place D on the table. Now we execute C on top of D. Okay, but that is going to hinder. We want B to be there. So this is going to hinder. So what will it do? It will start with C over D, and then we realize that C on D is important. So we'll place C on D, and now we can place B on top of C. So not both are executed. You can see that when you're solving one component, you stop in the middle, you pick up the other component, solve that thing, and then again start solving the first one. Here when C, B and D, let me repeat, it is I want to have B on top of C. So I place D on the table, but when I am placing B on the C, I realize that if I do that, will not allow me to execute C on top of B. So I stop in the middle and then start executing C on top of D, which I did, and once I did that, before that I check whether B on top of C is hindered or not. It is not, so this is allowed. Now I can place B on top of C. This is how it does that, and this is only one way of explaining how plan space planning achieves something which goal stack planning doesn't. With that note, I would like to conclude here. Let us see what we have seen in this particular module. We have looked at plan space planning. We have looked at the problems with goal stack planning. We have looked at Sussman's anomaly. We have looked at the case where if you try both components, there are two components we need to achieve, and if you try solving it in either way, you're getting it longer, and every time you'll have to undo what you have done before. Interestingly, plan space planning solves that problem with a cost. Plan space planning is pretty expensive. It requires a lot of additional measurements and a lot of bookkeeping and all that. With that note, we'll conclude. Thank you.